very homophobic, and I think we're doing a hell of a lot better. There's areas we got to pick up on, obviously. Here, that may be how you interpret it. It's just a shame. I've met Ron on a number of occasions as well. He seems like a decent guy. And be careful what you wish for. You want to send Ron up the river? You want Stronghold back? And listen, George is a nice... George worked... I've never met George within this building. Everyone who worked with George here, I've never heard a bad thing about the kid. But what a disaster that was. The CDC looks on Strombolopolis as their Trudeau. Anything George touches, the kids will love.
Yeah.
Did you not remember the core hockey viewer? And they're going to see this hipster, with his head down and his fingers pointing on his little chair with his skinny jeans. It ain't going to fly, and it didn't. It didn't. So anyway, I thought that was a tempest in a teapot. But I really don't like when we had a discussion about how your two-way conversation may be interpreted by someone who comes late in. Come on. All right, look, we got to take a break already. Let's take our first look at the roads. At 5:44 for GuildhallWealth.com. Our first check and shot for traffic. Good morning, Jackie King.
Good morning, Mike. Well, taking a look at the major routes, we do have lots of overnight construction, but what is causing heavy delays is if you're traveling through the Durham area. That is on the westbound 401 from 6th into Brock Street. The two right lanes are being blocked, and it is moving very slowly before Stevenson. And then a little bit further on the westbound 401 collectors at Fort Union, the right lane is being blocked for roadwork. On the westbound QW past the Churchill, there is also maintenance blocking the two left lanes. And north of the city, traveling on the southbound 400, it is moving slow from Highway 9 to approaching King Road. And this is lingering traffic that is starting to ease off, and this is all due to construction that has now cleared on the southbound 400 at King Road. And taking a look at the city streets, there is new long-term construction on Bay Street, which is closed between Dundas and Gerrard, and this is for sewer repairs. Drain to the max with Lotto Max. Friday's Lotto Max jackpot is an estimated $65 million, plus an estimated $10 million max millions, plus your tickets. Buy your tickets today. I'm Jackie King with Global News Radio, 640 Toronto. Stop for traffic.
Physical gold and silver is the ideal investment for these turbulent times. Buy direct or in your RRSP or TFSA at GuildhallWealth.com.
If you're driving less these days, I've got good news and bad news. Good news, you're saving on gas. Bad news, a vehicle that sits may develop issues. Good news, the All-In Spring event has you covered. Receive a free seasonal tire changeover and brake inspection with the purchase of Peace of Mind maintenance service. Plus, get $20 off Mopar or Magneti Marelli brakes when you sign up for Mopar exclusives. And buy 3 tires, get the 4th free. See your Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram dealer for details. We built it, we know it.
With the Daily Grand Lotto, you could win $1,000 a day for life.
Wait, every single day?
Yeah,
So I'd start liking Mondays?
probably.
But everybody hates Mondays. So I'd suddenly be an outcast, living on the fringes of society, a bizarre Monday-loving weirdo.
But you'd get $1,000 every day for life.
Then TGIM, baby, and every other day, too.
The Daily Grand Lotto draws every Monday and Thursday. Buy tickets in store and online at olg.ca.
It was a rainy day when Pizzaville announced the medium gourmet pizza special. Get a medium gourmet pizza for just $13.99. That's like flying first class when you only paid economy. You're up front, sipping champagne and stretching out in your luxuriously wide berth. Instead of having somebody keep the back of your seat, then the guy in front of you decides to recline his.
Pizzaville, don't make pizza. Purely Canadian, authentically Italian.
How has business for you changed in the last year? Even the last few months? Has your message kept up with these changes? Chorus Creative Services can help you reach your audience wherever they are. Find out how. ChorusCreative.ca. Welcome back to the morning show with Mike Stafford on Global News Radio 640 Toronto.
It is 5:47, our morning rewind in just a moment. Told the story yesterday of, I guess it was on Tuesday, hot and steamy day, up at Derry and Dixie. There were cries coming from a car that turned out to be a baby. Is a kid under one a baby still?
Yeah.
They responded to reports police did. The infant was removed from the car. Police had to smash the window. The doors were locked. The windows were up. The child's going to be okay. Paramedics think the child was in there for probably half an hour, sweating profusely, but it will be okay. Yesterday, police charged a 28-year-old man and a 27-year-old woman with failing to provide the necessaries of life and abandoning the child. They'll be in court in August. They're also obviously seeking the appeal Children's Aid on the family as well. Police highlighting the dangers of leaving children and pets and any living organism really in a hot car. They will not name the couple to protect the privacy of the baby, which is ridiculous, but maybe it's a good thing, because if their names get into the media world, they will get into the social media world, and they will be chewed and spit out, I would say. I don't know what the situation was that led to that, but obviously the court system will take care of them. That's what a CAS, good Lord, God help them. Okay, our morning rewind. We had an opportunity to talk to a good guy. He's a co-founder of an RV matching service. He got some investor money from the guy who created Plenty of Fish, who's now a billionaire. Basically, during the pandemic, we're not traveling anywhere, but RVs can be a great way to experience travel and feel security during a pandemic. Our conversation with Mike McNaught. Globe and Mail had an article about a new venture, and they mentioned Marcus Friend. He's the guy who founded Plenty of Fish, sold it off for almost $600 million to Match Group a few years ago. And since then, Mr. Friend has made a lot of eclectic investments. He's a player in the BC wine industry, controls a furniture e-tailer. He co-owns a steel mill, for God's sakes. He's sort of returned to matchmaking in a way. He has sunk $23 million into the venture co-founded by my next guest. It is an Ottawa startup that connects owners of recreational vehicles with renters through the online marketplace. Think of it as Airbnb for RVs. Mr. Friend said, I looked at their website, I went, this is similar to dating. He understands marketplaces, obviously, and I thought, this looks interesting. There's so many things I could do with this, and it's pretty well timed as Americans and Canadians prepare to travel this summer. Flights and cruises are still a little iffy, but what about a recreational vehicle, a home on wheels? The RV industry is really looking forward to a boon. Our next guest is the Chief Operating Officer, President, and co-founder of RVZ, and that's Mike McNaught. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you this morning?
I'm not doing badly at all. Marcus Friend has not made many mistakes in his choices to invest all that Plenty of Fish money. How did you guys get connected?
You know what? We ended up getting connected through kind of a cold email, essentially, reaching out to him, right? Our bankers saw the connection in the matchmaking world, marketplaces, and thought that he may be interested in taking a look at the business. And and he was right. And it's been an unbelievable relationship for the last 2 years.
Well, that was successful and a lot easier than going on Dragon's Den.
Absolutely. Much less stress being on national television.
So this isn't just one of those investor, passive investments. He's really, really into this.
And that's what we really like about the relationship with Marcus is, we've always striven to be data-driven. And I think until Marcus came around, he really kind of opened our eyes up to what being data-driven is and just how to really, the matchmaking side is how do we really connect the renters with the RV that they need to satisfy their vacation. So he's been an unbelievable resource, and we connect with him weekly, which we don't generally see from an investment standpoint.
All right, so you're the COO, the president, the co-founder. Your CEO and co-founder, Will, he's a former military guy. You're a former cop. How did you get in the RV rental business?
Yeah, it's a kind of funny story, and we had connected earlier. I had bought my own personal motorhome 6-7 years ago and thought that I must be able to rent this out when I'm not using it, kind of similar to a rental property. But I quickly learned that there was no insurance in place. The entire transaction was these cash deals with strangers. I thought there had to be something safer, a better way of doing this. At the time, I was obviously full-time policing, 3 kids, a wife. I was taking university courses. Back in April 2016, I ended up getting injured on the job, ended up rupturing my bicep tendon when I ended up getting attacked in the line of duty. And during my time off and after surgery, kind of leveraged that time to start the RV.
Okay, yeah, you make a great point too. You're an RV owner. When that thing's just sitting, it's just sitting. You're not getting any enjoyment. Why not? Like people do with their cottages in the summer.
Yeah, that's right. And then, look, everybody's busy, right? Generally, an RV gets used 2 to 4 weeks out of the year. But what about the other 11 months that it's sitting in the driveway? And if you think from like a renter standpoint and wanting to, venture out and try the RV lifestyle, there's really not much available. You're kind of stuck with the traditional rental options of having, a box-style RV and very limited where you can pick it up. But what's great about our business model is our owners are located everywhere across the country. So it doesn't matter where you are. You can connect with a local owner, have them deliver the RV right to your campsite, or pick it up on the way to your destination.
Okay, so you were on Dragon's Den. Michelle, you got 150 from her in backing, and then she helped you recruit RV owners. You went to Boots and Hearts?
Michelle, she is a true workhorse. You see that in her work ethic. She's quite the grinder. And so she came with us to Boots and Hearts. It's a great festival for us to get in front of not only RV owners, but for people looking to rent an RV. And in the early days, that was it. It was boots on the ground. Whether it's the Havelock Jamboree or Boots and Hearts, we were boots on the ground talking to RV owners and really just educating people about the opportunity that we were building.
Okay, and part of the idea of finding the RV owners who'd be willing to rent is going to the dealers who sold the RVs.
And that's something we really wanted to be a part of from day one. We kind of looked at, the history of Airbnb and Uber and kind of some of the challenges they faced with the traditional industry that existed, and we wanted to be part of a solution. So now dealers really like our business model because it also helps them close the sale of RVs, right? For a family that's thinking about purchasing one, but it's hard to justify the 2 to 4 week use of it, well, now there's a way for them to offset some of those costs and still enjoy the ownership of an RV.
That's a great point too. This will pay for itself.
Exactly. And what the biggest question we'd always get was about the insurance side, is what happens if something were to happen. So we make sure everyone's fully covered under our insurance policy. It's a full replacement cost on travel trailers, so it's really risk-free. And we have owners making well over $30,000 a season on single units.
All right, Mike, I got to be honest. I've been a small car guy all my life. When I got a Santa Fe, it was like, well, this is a little big for me. I would be terrified to drive an RV. How tough is it? What's the learning curve?
It's really, really quite simple. If you've driven, any type of truck, an F-150 before, you'd be very comfortable behind the wheel of an RV. And if you're not, this is what I love again about our community of owners, is choose a campsite that you want to go to and have the owner of the RV, they'll deliver it right to the campsite, set it up for you, and pick it up when you're done. So even if you are a little nervous about it, there's other options for you. And we also encourage all of our owners will take you on a test drive, teach you how to drive it, how the entire thing works. So it's really not that intimidating once you get behind the wheel.
Okay, so it's not necessarily meaning I'm going to get in the road like Jack Nicholson in About Schmidt and drive all over the place. I could just leave it stationary at a campsite already set up for me.
Absolutely, and it's such a great experience. There are some unbelievable private campgrounds and provincial campgrounds across our province that have unbelievable amenities, waterfronts and water parks, and you name it, available. So why not have something delivered right there? Bring the family. You can show up in the minivan and not even have to worry about towing it.
Well, this past year has sucked for everybody, but it's kind of bittersweet. It's been great for your business.
Yeah, I think, like every other business, it was a pretty big shock last March and April, but I think once May started hitting, we started to see the turnaround and a bit of optimism about travel in the summer, and RVs are just so well suited to kind of promote travel during the pandemic. You can be isolated, they're fully contained, you have your own shower, cooking facilities, everything is isolated. So it's actually proven to be the #1 travel option during the pandemic. And what we're seeing this year is, you know, the people that were maybe a little too hesitant to travel last summer, well, they don't want to miss out on a second summer without getting outside. So we're seeing a huge surge in business, and it's, to be honest, we need more supply. We need more kind of RV owners taking part in the marketplace to provide these options to our travelers.
What's your website, Mike?
Website is rvz.com. That's rvez.com, and you can also find us on the App Store, both Apple and Android.
That's Mike McNaught. He is the co-founder of RVZ. We'll get the latest from the roads. Dave will have the news, the weather, and the sports, and more of the morning show on a chilly Thursday. Global News Radio 640 Toronto.
I wanted a fast, safe, efficient, and friendly divorce. The team at Russell Alexander Family Lawyers accomplished it all and more. I was able to settle my divorce remotely and in an amicable way.
Call Russell Alexander Family Lawyers at pound 99.99. That's pound 99.99.
So, how's your blood pressure? Pretty good? What if I said fixed or variable? 3 years or 5? 10? 25%? Or maybe no down payment at all? Self-employed, bad credit, lots of consumer debt? So how's your pressure now? Yeah, pretty much what I thought. You want to make the most important financial decision of your life, and we want to help you make it, no matter what your finances are like. Northwood Mortgage, 416-969-8130, or visit us online at northwoodmortgage.com.
License 10349.
The No Frills Hot Summer Haul event's here with hot days and hot deals. Your grill's getting deals, your cooler's getting deals, your wallet's getting deals. Hot Summer Haul, only until June 9th. No Frills won't be beat. See nofrills.ca/flyer for details.
5:59 with a look at the roads. Once again, Kimberly Fowler.
Making your way out onto the major highways, we do still have lots of overnight construction, but what is causing heavy delays is if you're traveling through the Durham area. On the westbound 401 from Dixon to Brock Street, the two right lanes are being blocked in. It is moving very slow for before Stevenson. And then over to the southbound 404 at 16th, the right lane is blocked, and a little bit further at Highway 7, the three right lanes are also blocked for overnight construction. Traveling north of the city on the southbound 400 at King Road, the two right lanes are now reopened, and that overnight construction has wrapped up, but it continues to be slow on the approach. With Bel Air Direct, you could save up to $750 when you get an online quote and switch your car and home insurance. Live a little larger. I'm Jackie King with Global News Radio 640 Toronto. Chopper traffic.
Insightful, engaging, and intelligent. This is CFMJ Global News Radio 640 Toronto, a Chorus Entertainment Company. You're listening to Global News Radio 640 Toronto. This is Global News at 6 o'clock.
Good morning, I'm Dave Bradley. Mostly sunshine today, but it is going to be cooler than it has been. Tomorrow, downright cold. Right now, it is just 9 degrees. It's Thursday, and the clock is ticking for the provincial government to come up with a plan for sending kids back to school. Despite a slew of voices calling for students to be sent back to in-person learning, the Ford government has been relatively silent on the issue. For schools to reopen on Monday, as some reports had suggested could happen, parents, teachers, and boards say they would have to know by today. Toronto's medical officer of health did her best tap dance when we asked about it.
Dr. Eileen DeVilla was asked several times about the possibility of Toronto schools reopening before the end of the school year, and while she said essentially she was hopeful,
we are strongly in support of in-person learning.
There was a catch.
I'm in favor of schools reopening under circumstances that allows them to open safely.
When asked if she believes she could give the go-ahead right now, Dr. DeVilla says she needs to know more.
Once we know what they're proposing, then we can look at our specific data and understand what the circumstances are.
Dr. David Williams said Tuesday that students should return to in-school learning before the rest of the reopening strategy begins in mid-June. Dave Woodard at Global News.
And speaking of countdowns, we're just 4 days away from the deadline where thousands of doses of AstraZeneca shots in the province are set to expire. And about 100 pharmacies in Toronto have yet to receive those shots to try and get them into arms. Now the federal health minister is urging provinces not to let them go to waste. As a matter of fact, Patty Haidu is